Hi, this is Book and Bujo. I'm Debbie, and welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today is the next installment of my favorite things. This time, it's fine liners. Fine liners, they are amazing for so many things. You can get such tiny little lines, but you can also get some thicker ones too. They kind of run between 0.001, especially for a Pigma Micron, all the way up to 8, like a 0.0 or a 0.8 on up to a 1 and a little bit bigger. And they are great for making lines for drawings and for your bullet journals and reading journals and just for journaling. And they create such a great detail to different things that you do each day. So let's go through some of the ones that I personally own and have used and which ones of those I like. I can't really speak to ones I haven't used before, so these are just the ones that I have used. So to start out with is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pens that are the fine liners. I had these a few years ago when I first started bullet journaling, and I did really like them until they started running out of ink. And then instead of writing like this, you had to write with them straight up and down, and that really was annoying. It was hard to make your writing pretty, and it was a lot more shaky, and yeah, I didn't like that. So I have not purchased those again. But I did purchase some other fine liners, and I have found out they all kind of do that. So when they start running out of ink, you pretty much have to write with them like this instead of like this. So you're trying to write like this, and you almost have to learn in your writing style how to hold your pen and everything to write with them vertically instead of horizontally. Just something to keep in mind with fine liners in general. Let's just start with this one because it's in my lap. I'm mainly just going to go over like the black, gray, and sepia colors that I have. But some of these pens come in an array of colors, and that is no exception with the Monami 3000 Plus. And these ones are more of a felt tip pen, but they work great for fine liners because they're so small. They have just a nice tiny little tip, and they do come in an array of colors, just a rainbow of colors. And the other ones that come in multiple colors are the Pigma Microns. These come in lots of pretty colors, reds, blues, greens, yellows, all of those. We also have the Staedtler Triplus fine liners, which come in like a 70, I think you can get a 72 pack of all different colors. I think you get maybe like 2 blacks and 2 reds or something, but otherwise all of the colors are different, and they are beautiful. I love writing with these. But again, when they dry out, you have to go vertical with them. Okay, so let's kind of go just in general with which one I pull from my hand first. We first talked about the Monami Plus, and I will do a pen test at the end of this so you can see what they all look like. And this one has a felt tip kind of pen, or it's a felt tip on the tip of the pen. Yes. And the other fun thing about this one is you can actually hand letter with it as well. If you want to do some small hand lettering, it does create more of a thicker line if you put a little more pressure on it, and then a nice tiny thin line when you just write normal. Next up, let's just go with some more tiny ones here. So I have my Staedtler Triplus fine liners, and these ones again come in so many amazing colors, and you got this nice little tip on the end that's a lot like the Pigma Micron tip. And then that leads us to, so this one is the one I've been using a lot, and again, all the information wears off as you start writing, so so here's one that you could actually read. And these ones are the 005, so they are super tiny tips, and they create a nice super delicate thin line. It works great for artists who just want to get like that really fine definition in different things, just the tiny little details. This works great. And most of these pens come in sets. You can get some of them on their own singularly. You could get a 2-pack of them. Like I think I had, it was a 6-pack and they're all the 005s, but you can also get a multi-pack. So it has the 005, the 01, 03, 05, on up through 08 and 1, and then a brush pen as well. So you can get some nice packs of these ones. And they also come in different colors. I think you can get like red, blue, orange, green, your basic primary colors. The other pack that I got is the Tombow Mono drawing pens. And these come in the 01, 03, and a 05. And again, it's that similar kind of tip. There's the little one. Let me show you the 05. Be able to see it a little bit better. Yeah. And they all have, it's the similar tips to the Staedtlers and the Pigmas. These ones, I really like the Tombow Monos. I think they leave a nice dark line. So you do need to keep in mind that the mono drawing pens are a water-based pigment ink marker. So if you're gonna highlight or do some kind of watercolor over the top of it, or use a Tombow brush pen over the top of it, it will smear. So you need to do that part first and then come in with these ones. Now if you want some that are pigment based and not water based, so you could put a highlighter over the top of it and it won't smear it, then you'll want to go with either the Pigma Microns or the Uni Pen fine liners. So this one I did get in, was it 2, 4, 6, 8 pack. And you get a 01 and a 05 in each color. So it comes with the sepia, it comes with light gray, dark gray, and black. And I just threw one on the floor. Okay, there it is. So you get 2 of each color and 2 different sizes in each color. And these ones, again, here's the 0.5. It's that similar tip on all of them. But this one is water and fade proof, and it's a pigment ink. So you should be able to come over with your watercolor and go over the top of it and it shouldn't smear. I want to know what fine liners you've been using and what you think of them. And have you used any of these ones and do you like any of them? Let's go ahead and go on over and do a pen test for each of these fine liners and find out which one I like best. Let's talk fine liners. So we have my Uni Pen fine liners. We have the Pigma Microns. We have the Tombow Mono drawing pens, which are also fine liners. We have the Staedtler Triplus fine liner and the Monami Plus Pen 3000. So let's do our pen tests. So we'll start with the Uni Pens. So that's the 0.5. We have the 0.1. So the Uni Pens are water and fade proof. They're pigment ink, which means you can use them under water-based pens. So if you have like a Tombow, you can write with this and then put a Tombow over the top and it won't smear it. And I do like how thin the 0.1 is. And the Uni Pen does come in a multi-pack, and so I guess I should probably write this on there. Let's use this one. This one is the black, obviously. And then we have the dark gray. The light gray. You can kind of tell I've used this one quite a bit, and it does kind of the same thing. So the thing I didn't like about the Faber-Castell pens, I then found out that it happens to pretty much all fine liners. Definitely the Triplus ones do this as well. So this one is the sepia. But as it starts to run out of ink, the more vertical and upright you have to have it in order to write, especially with like the 0.5 ones, and that kind of drives me nuts. But it kind of happens with all of the pens, especially whatever that kind of tip is, kind of that plastic tip on most of the fine liners. Drives me nuts. But it kind of happens with all of them. You could tell I've used this one a lot, so we'll see if, like this one, I don't know if that's even still in there. I think that's been pushed down. I think that one's an old one. We'll see if this one works or not. And these are the 0.005. Oh, it does still work. So again, even with that tiny tip, you have to write kind of sideways. All right, I really like the Uni Pens, and I do really like the Tombow Mono drawing pens. They write really well. And this one is the 05. And I've used these ones quite a bit, and I haven't quite had to go this way yet, but it's probably going to be getting there soon. And then the 03, these are in the black. And of course the Pigma and the Staedtler Tri-Tip come in many different colors. You can get the whole rainbow. All right, the Staedtlers, they last quite a long time. And it doesn't really say what size it is, but I would call it closer to a 3 than a 1. It's a little bit bigger. We do have the black and the sepia, and again, this one comes in a ton of different colors, as does this one. And again, I would call this one closer to a 3. But what's fun about this one is, even though it's kind of got that felt tip on it, if you press down, you get some line variations. You could actually use this to hand letter, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Counting from my favorite, from what I have here, to my least favorite. It's really a toss-up between the Uni Pen and the Tombow as my absolute favorite. I do really like the Staedtler as well. I tend to reach for my Uni Pen a little more often, so we're gonna call that number 1. And then we'll say my Tombow would be number 2, my Staedtler would be number 3, Pigma Micron number 4, and then the Monami number 5 for fine liners. I do use the Monami for an everyday writer in my bullet journal, as well as for tiny lettering, tiny hand lettering, if you want to be able to write smaller. But it works well when I'm putting in my intentions and stuff in my weeklies, or in my dailies actually. So those are my favorite fine liners, and from start to finish, what are your favorite fine liners? I'm sure you have some that I don't have here. These are just the ones that I currently own. I've also used the Faber-Castell pens, which I do really like. They're pretty similar to the Uni Pen and the Tombows. I think between the 3 of them, they're pretty interchangeable for me anyway. I like all 3 of them, and they all have pretty similar properties for all 3 as well. Although I do feel like the Tombow and the Uni Pen last longer than the Faber-Castell did for me. But again, it's also been a couple years since I've used them, so. So I have my top 1 to 5 out of all of the fine liners that I've been using. Do you agree with my choices, or would you put them in a different order? I would love to find that one out. Let me know down below. As a quick little recap, number 5 is my Mono 3000 Plus. Number 4 is the Pigma Micron, and I would say mainly it got number 4 because the only ones that I have are the tiny little tips. And I don't use them quite as much as I do some of like the 1, 3, and 5 sizes. So I think if I had the bigger sizes in this, I would probably rank it a little bit higher. Third place, even though I do use these a lot, but I use them more for journaling and writing than I do in my bullet journal. So like actually writing journal as opposed to bullet journal planning. And that would be my Staedtler fine liner, Triplus fine liners. I do love Staedtler. I took quite a few drafting classes in college, and Staedtler was recommended a lot for drafting. And that's kind of how I got into it. So that's one of the reasons why I love them so much. But the size also is a good sweet spot. It works perfect when I'm writing in my bullet journal for my weeklies and my dailies, because it doesn't take up a lot of room and it fits easily in between the dock grid spaces, as does the Pigma Microns and the Monami 3000. This one, they all work really well for writing in the lines in the bullet journals. And then in second place, I would say my Tombow Mono drawing pins, and mainly because I reach for these after I reach for my number one choice. And it could be that I have them in two different places. One of them I have in my everyday carry pencil bag, and the other one I have on my TBR cart. So that could be one of the reasons as well. But I do really like these. I think they have a nice dark black line and they write very smoothly. And price points for all of them, I would almost say Staedtler tends to run a little higher than others. All of the pens are basically around the same price point, give or take a few dollars, depending on if you're getting a 2-pack, if you're getting a variety pack, if you're getting different colors, that's going to change the price point a little bit, but overall they're fairly similar in price. But my number one, because I reach for these first all the time, and it could be because they're in my everyday pencil bag, but I do love how they write, and I love the different shades of gray and black and sepia that I was able to get in this variety pack that I got, and that is the Uni Pen, the Uni Pen fine liner. They just work so well for me. I just love how they write. But with the pen test, I mean, overall, they're all fairly similar, so 6 of one, half dozen of another. But I really love my Uni Pen for my bullet journaling and even just writing every day in my bullet journal as well as my reading journal. So if you have a different fine liner suggestion you would like to give me, I would love to try it out and see if it can knock any of these off the top 3 list anyway, and let me know down in the comments what you think. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from me. And if you made it this far, leave a pen emoji in the comments to let me know that you were here. And if you have that suggestion for what I should review next in my favorite things, go ahead and leave that in comments, but down below as well. I could do brush pens, I could do markers, we've got gel pens, we've got pencils, mechanical pencils, there's erasers, there's so many things that are on my favorite things list. If you have one that you would like me to do before the others, just let me know down below. And until next time, keep planning. Bye!